You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor, subscribe to the channel, leave your comments below, and be sure to smash that like button. All right, LSU was back on the practice field on Monday, and much appreciation of Brian Kelly for the access he continues to afford the media. We got to watch about 15 minutes inside, a little longer than 15 minutes inside, actually, but we were able to film, shoot video pictures all for the first 15 minutes. Then it's observation only the rest of the way. And it ended up being more than 2 hours that the media got to see today. I will begin with the thing that everybody is talking about today. Yes, there was a gigantic fight. And I'm not talking about one of those fights where somebody grabs someone's face mask and then they hold each other at arm's length and they tug a little and you blow whistles. This is a fight. Like punches thrown. There were actually dopes throwing punches at people with helmets on. Like, I don't know why you would punch someone in the helmet, but that happened. It was outside. During a team period. They were going full 11 on 11. Team had shoulder pads on today, so they were doing a thud, which is you're not tackling to the ground, but it was a thud. And they were going 11 on 11. And Harold Perkins and Malik Neighbors got mouthy, and Malik threw a punch, and then Kyron Lacey threw a punch, and it was in a matter of seconds, 50, 60 guys on the field in a giant melee. And it was odd because you figure that it would calm and break up. It didn't. Then it went to the ground, and it was a dog pile, and there was Mason Smith body slamming somebody. I don't know who. But it seemed like it had calmed, and this all happened right in front of the media assembled. I mean, I was right there. And it seemed like it had calmed, and then Major Burns jumped back in and threw a punch at somebody with a helmet on. Denver Harris took off his helmet. I don't know why. Like, you're in a fight, man, like with dudes with helmets and pads. Leave your helmet on. But anyway, ultimately when it all got broken up, they sent Malik Neighbors and Kyron Lacey to the locker room. They were kicked out of practice. I don't know why Perkins and Burns weren't kicked out. They should have been as well, but weren't. They did not allow Perkins to go back in. There was a point when they resumed 11 on 11 that Perkins tried to go back in with the defense, and Kelly was like, get your behind out of there. And he kind of took him to the side and talked to him for a bit. Before they resumed activities, Brian Kelly brought the whole team together and had a message. After practice, Mason Taylor and Sai'vion Jones were the two players that spoke. Greg Brooks was supposed to meet with the media today. He left practice with an injury. And Malik Neighbors was supposed to speak today, but he got kicked out of practice, so I don't think they were going to let him talk. Mason Taylor was asked Brian Kelly's message after the fight.
A couple days in the fall camp, everyone's excited. So, I mean, everything gets chirpy and they're excited to be back. So it's just energies through the roof. But Coach Kelly just said respect the brotherhood. I mean, we just got to respect each other. At the end of the day, we're teammates, and we got to work together to get each other better. And we'll do that to the other team, not our team. So.
And then also Sai'vion Jones was asked similarly the same question about Brian Kelly's message after the fight.
Yeah, he was definitely disappointed, but, he just told us that's something that we need to put behind us, and instead of being down about the fight, use that as a stepping stool to see where our chemistry at now and where we need to get in order to be a championship team.
One more from Sai'vion Jones, sort of about a similar tune of what Mason Taylor said about what that shows about the team.
I feel like scuffling is something that always comes with football if you're passionate about it. Like, if you're not having a scuffle, then, like, are you really, like, do you really want to play football? You know what I mean?
I don't want to overstate what happened. I just know everybody's talking about it today, so it happened. Guys fight at practice. I remember, like, the Saints and the Texans would fight every year at practice. Last year, Trevor Penning got kicked out of practice because he fought 3 days in a row. It happens. I mean, there was the day in fall camp back in 2019 when Joe Burrow and Patrick Queen got into a fight. It happens. So hopefully they move on forward from it all better for it. Couple of notes from today. Brian Thomas was not there. No explanation given. I mentioned Greg Brooks, who had been running first team at nickel, was there at the beginning of practice. Apparently was injured at some point early and left. J.K. Johnson, the Ohio State cornerback transfer, he was on one of those scooters, where your foot scooter, where your knee's on and to elevate your foot, and his right foot was just heavily wrapped. So I don't know what the injury is, but clearly something on his right lower leg. And then, as I mentioned, both Malik Neighbors and Kyron Lacey were booted out of practice today. A couple of other things, if I kind of run through the practice report from the day. When we were inside, we saw a lot of sort of the individual drills, and then we saw the offensive line and defensive line come together, and the offensive line was working on combo blocks, so it was essentially 2 against 1. One guy that I would say has really improved. The offensive line, by the way, as a whole, won the day. If I had one big takeaway from today and the first 3 days we've been able to see, LSU's offense is light years ahead of their defense. And it's odd because it's usually the other way around. The defense normally is just you're reading and reacting. The offense is more reps, timing, rhythm. So far, from everything we've been able to see, the offense is dramatically ahead of the defense. It's still, they're not even a full week into camp yet. So I'm not saying overreact to this. If anything, I think it's really encouraging that the offensive line is playing so well, that the receivers are having as much success as they are. Like, I think it's a good thing. You can spin it either way, but I would trust Matt House and the talent on defense to come along. But the offense is doing exceptional right now. Bo Bordelon, the redshirted a year ago out of Newman down in New Orleans. Of course, his dad, Ben Bordelon, played at LSU. Bo Bordelon, last week, we saw him first playing second-team left guard. Today, he was playing right guard. Today, he was playing, forgive me, he was on the left side. I apologize. It was, wait, I'm sorry. Last week, Kimo Makaneoli was backup left tackle, and Mason Lunsford was second-team left guard. Today, we saw Bo Bordelon playing second-team left tackle, and Makaneoli was second-team left guard. Excuse me, I mixed that up. And Bordelon has played well. Bordelon pancakes Quincy Wiggins today. He hit some really nice wins. He looks like he belongs. That is a really nice transformation year 1 to year 2. Sai'vion Jones, I think, had the biggest win. He split Emory Jones and Miles Frazier, and then Miles Frazier and Emory Jones dominated Deshaun Womack. That's another big takeaway. Zalance Hurd body slammed Deshaun Womack today as well. In those drills, it was tough for 17. Deshaun Womack's wearing 17. Mason Smith had a great play. It was almost unfair where he split Charles Turner and DJ Chester. I don't know why DJ Chester was lined up next to Charles Turner. He was. DJ Chester is running as your third-team center right now. When they went outside, we got to see the full offense. Logan Diggs took the first reps today at running back. That's a change. Last week when we got to watch practice, that was Josh Williams taking the first-team reps at running back. And based on full team, 7-on-7 drills, we've seen a ton of rotation there. But today it was Logan Diggs who got the first go. Sage Ryan ran at nickel with Greg Brooks out with the first team. And the wide receiver dominance over the cornerbacks and defensive backs continued. They ran the receiver defensive back drill again where, and look, it's worth noting, you got a quarterback in the middle of the field, you got a receiver and a DB one-on-one at either number, right, on the outside. The receiver and the quarterback know what route is being run. There's no pass rush. It's just receiver, corner, go, and you got the whole field. So it's, as Brian Kelly said last week, it is a drill that is skewed toward the receivers, and the receivers keep dominating it. I charted 22 reps in that drill, and the defense won 2 of them. 2 out of 22. The first one, Malik Neighbors went deep and just dusted Zy Alexander. There were the 2 defensive wins were Javian Toviano had a pass breakup against Mason Taylor. And then Deuce Chestnut had a win against Landon Ibieta. That was it. That group has a long way to go. They got a lot of talent. It's early, not overreacting. But boy, LSU's receivers and pass catchers have a major advantage right now. They look really good. Got to see a lot of special teams. If you're wondering, they let 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They tried 8 guys today catching kicks and punts. Let's see. We got to see, of course, Aaron Anderson was back there. Trey Holly was back there. Jaylen Brown was back there. Gregory Clayton. Logan Diggs was back there as well. Noah Kane. And then the other freshman, number 14. It was Jaylen Brown. Who's the freshman from Texas? I'm blanking. I just keep writing down numbers. Help me. Please, when I'm doing this, just do me a favor. Like, keep a roster handy. Because there's a lot of times I'm just going to call out a number. I promise you, I'm going to learn all these and we'll get there. But when you have 110 guys and a lot of them have changed numbers and things are going so quickly, you just jot numbers because it's quicker. I'll learn it. But 12 and 14 are 2 freshman receivers. Don't worry about it. I got it. 12 is Kyle Parker and 14 is Jaylen Brown. Those 2 were back there returning punts. And for whatever it's worth, both Brown and Parker bobbled punts, as did Aaron Anderson. So the challenge continues. As a matter of fact, they did go full team special teams. That's one big change. Is they have a full team special teams period. And when they worked on punts, we saw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We saw 6 reps. And this is full on, right? And one thing I'll tell you that's impressive is they are including a lot of key players on the punt team. So, for example, they had Sage Ryan, Sai'vion Jones, Ovia Gofu, Marlon Martinez, and Major Burns on the punt team as either the personal protectors or the gunners. The first punt, Aaron Anderson bobbled it. The second one, the snap went over Peyton Todd's head. The third one, Javen Nicholas was running up. He muffed a short punt. The fourth one, this was the one clean one. Peyton Todd boomed a punt. I mean, it had to be a 70-yard punt. He annihilated it. And Jaylen Brown went back and made the catch over his head. Forgive me, that was 12, Kyle Parker. The fifth rep, it was Brown who had a clean reception, but it was a wobbly punt by 19 by Jay Bramblett. And then the final rep, Jordan Allen, who was in coverage, just ran over Gregory Clayton. Suffice to say, guys, they got a ways to go. It's early. I mean, they're a weekend. They're not even a full weekend. They got a ways to go in a lot of places, but there's a lot of really good. And the best news so far is, man, the offense already is humming. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.